Yo guys, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It's your main man here, double to the H, half up here for another little live little movie show. So just talking to you guys about really the biggest kinds of things happening in entertainment. And I'm not alone. I have my man here, Mr. Red. So what up, Mr. Red? What's happening, man? What's happening?
Yo, what to do, HH? How's it going? How's it going?
Cool, 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 cool. So so for this show, we're gonna pretty much be talking about, I believe, two of the biggest films happening this coming year, and that, of course, is going to be Joker and Irishman. And I think those are really the two big ones that are happening. And I think this is going to be the two main films. I mean, we've got Terminator and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not really a big fan. Yo, what up to Mr. Clayton, who's up there in the chat? So look, man. First off, let's just get down to it, man. Joker. So the film comes out October 4th, and it's already apparently been touted as a huge film, a film that's going to definitely divide opinion. Joaquin Phoenix has obviously been praised for his performance in this, and I think, because I believe this could be a very, very pivotal film. Now, I don't trust critics because, again, you never know what critics are going to say. But the key thing about this is that I want this film to change how we approach comic book films. So even if I watched and I don't like the film, I want the film to be bold and cause such a rupture and such a massive reaction within the movie industry that people have to take up and wake up and listen. And from what I've been hearing, again, there's been times when critics have said, "Oh no, this film's amazing. I've watched the film and it's not that good." Or times where critics have said, "Oh, this film is awful. I've seen the film and the film has been good." So don't ever go fully with critics. But one thing that is sort of consistent is you're going to get a reaction out of the film. So even people who don't even like the film have said it's it does something. It's not a film that you can just easily push on under the rug. So I am really looking forward to what is going to happen with this film and seeing what the pop off. So, what are your thoughts, Red, on Joker, specifically with the reviews coming in, saying about
See,
how it's going to be a very divisive film?
CHH, I'm a bit scared to be honest with you because here's the thing with
Scared.
the Joker. The Joker, I'll tell you why. It's a very thin line because you could go from creepy and eerie to cringy real quick. Like you saw Jared Leto, he tried
There
to
we
be
go. Yeah,
too
yeah.
creepy.
I knew you were going to say that, dude. Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing is like because like his Jared Leto like before I remember before Suicide Squad people were hyping up that movie acting as if like oh Jared Leto's Joker is gonna be much superior to the old Joker 'cause he's going extra creepy, he's scaring his cast, but then when the movie came out he didn't come off creepy, he just came off kind of cringy, right?
Yeah, and just very
But
weird. No, but sorry to cut you, but you know what? I put a lot of the blame on David Ayer for that, with that, because I think no, at the end of the day, people say okay, he's the actor and he still made those acting choices, but I think for me the whole film was a mess. Suicide Squad was a brick of a film. It was a crap movie. So I do feel that the way in which he was directed and how he was put forth went down to David Ayer. But at the end of the day, look, Jared Leto, it was a complete and utter mess. But yeah, continue.
yep. So like with that one, I'm very happy with this movie. Because to be honest with you, any movie that changes the status quo that we have right now is great. Because to be like with the Marvel cinematic universe, I think that raised the level for franchises. Like it upped the level. If you want to have a franchise, now there's a whole new bar that you have to reach. But for individual movies, I felt it kind of lowered the ball with some other movies. Like especially like there's not much edge to them. So with this, I hopefully this encourages them. Like for example, because I personally wasn't a big fan of the recent Venom movie. I felt that they could have gone edgier with it, and with this one, hopefully, this one will encourage them. Like Deadpool's shown that it's worked. Deadpool went like just gave us pure Deadpool, and that works. Hopefully, they give us like pure Joker, just a Joker story. I don't want to see Batman, just purely Joker. Build up this character. It could work. I think I'm very excited for it. And Joaquin Phoenix, I like the fact that he's changing it up because you had Nicholson's Joker, which was in his own right phenomenal. You had Heath Ledger's Joker, completely different but also phenomenal. And then you had Jared Leto. He was different, but he wasn't. He was hit or miss for all of us. So hopefully this guy could like because I liked his laugh, which is the Joker. The most important thing is the laugh. You have to have that
Oh no,
sort
no,
of like that unique.
but
Yes.
Red. But what the key thing that people are missing here is this. You see, let me be fully blunt here. I think something I've not really fully illustrated. I think a Joker film is stupid. Now, I think there was a comic, a Joker comic that I think it's like a series of comic, and I think it's written by Brian Azzarello and drawn by Eduardo Risso, who drew 100 Bullets. Great comic. I'll do a review on that. Amazing graphic novel, 100
Mhm.
Bullets. And even when I saw it, I say, a Joker film is stupid. You can't have a Joker in anything without Batman. They need each other. So my thing is that coming into this is that I'm not even necessarily judging this based on how well he does the Joker, the laugh, and everything. To be honest, I'm going in for Joaquin Phoenix. Like, because I'm such a like. There was this film called "You Were Never Really There."
Mhm.
Super indie film directed by Lynn Ramsey. I went to go and watch it in like a flipping full-on art house cinema because I'm such a fan of Joaquin Phoenix and just his acting. I think he's the best guy out there. But
Mhm.
my thing about it is that I think people shouldn't be going in thinking that, oh my gosh, I want to see how well he does it. You should be going in for this dude. You should be going in for Joaquin Phoenix and what he can do for this role because it should just be because again, for you, are you going in wanting a Joker film and him to represent Joker in the right way, or are you going in just wanting to see a film Joaquin Phoenix? I mean, what is your real
No,
motivation?
like for me, like I'm part of the comic book fans that I don't really care if they're faithful to the comic, as long as they're kind of faithful to the character in a way. I don't need to see like a perfect story. Like I'm more excited for the characters because you obviously see that DC has invested a bit more quality. Like getting Joaquin Phoenix, like you said, he's a quality actor. He's not really the type of actor you expect in a superhero or a supervillain movie or any like. So they are trying to go a bit more serious route. But you know what I think is interesting, HH, is that what if this is the lead-in to the new Batman, right? Like you remember in the Batman Begins at the end, how do they tease the Joker? They're like, you inspired a lot of people. What if they swap the roles a little bit here? The
But
Joker introduces Batman.
no, but do you know? No. But you know what I think. Let me be real with you. I feel that what Matt Reeves is doing is a different world. Do you know what I hope
Purely
for this film?
standalone.
Is like, do you know what I hope for this film? What I hope for this film is this starts a trend. And this starts a
Mm.
trend of standalone films that have nothing to do with a DCEU or whatever. Because I've always said, because I think we'll also get to the director, Todd Phillips, but I think a lot of people, like I think they said the difficulty of trying to get this film off the ground was, I think Todd Phillips said, Warner Brothers said, you know that we sell Joker pajamas, and lots of kids like the Joker. But my thing is that that's all cool. I get that kids like Joker. I get that the kids like Batman. There is a PG-13 Batman out there. Why can't you make a Batman film that is rated 18 for adults that has nothing to do with the mainstream Batman that exists out there? It's
Hmm.
like, so my hope for this is that if this is a success, I would like a standalone, in and of itself, really proper, rated 18, directed by David Fincher, 7 type Batman detective film. That is almost like a
The,
horror movie.
we,
That's what I
we,
hope
we
it is.
honestly and we like we can at this moment in time. I feel like DC is at the point where they'll try anything, right? So like we could possibly get that, and I agree with you. Like we deserve that. Like as viewers, like Suicide Squad, that stuff that we got, that was so watered down. Like it's actually hilarious that the animated movie is 10 times better than the live action movie, and the animated movie is much more gruesome and has a lot more adult themes than the live action movie. Like so with this one, if they can just deliver a good solid movie, because like we already know the actors are quality. But having quality actors means nothing if the script isn't there. Like if it's some like I really hope that they don't try to, like I said, like try and go over beyond and make him too edgy where it's cringy. You're like, okay, that's too much. Like I hope that they if they balance it well and they play it off, and then the average because like DC fans, they're gonna love it no matter what. We want to hit they have to hit the average viewer. If they can get the average viewer, then that's when these movies will start to encourage them to make more.
Oh, no, no, no,
Because
no.
I don't know if you
But again, that is why it is so interesting that they didn't take this to Comic Con, that they took this to the Venice Film Festival. So the very fact
Yep.
that they said no, 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 this is a film that was taken to the Venice Film Festival, I think it's huge. And like, it's so good that you bring up MCU. For me, I'm tired of the MCU personally. I'm tired. Like, it was cool to begin with, real cool to begin with, but then afterwards I was like about to say, this is it's a checklist. It's literally a checklist, and it's not pushing anything. It's not bringing in anything new. There are no new ideas. It's just literally just like, yep. It's basically what it is the issue I have with Pixar, where it's just a conveyor belt where we know what the audience wants and we're just going to give the audience exactly what they want. But I like films that challenge me, that surprise me, which is why I love like Aronofsky's model that really challenge me. But let's bring in this dude now. So this is what has me worried now. Is what is your view on Todd Phillips?
The Todd Phillips, he's directing the movie.
Yep.
Yep. To be honest with you, HH, I'm not too familiar with him. Like
Wait,
I'm
wait,
going
wait,
like
wait, wait. You've seen
for me, like
Hangover, haven't you?
most of. Pardon?
Have you seen The Hangover?
Yes, yes, I have.
That's it. Basically, he did The Hangover.
That changes it a little bit. Sorry, I apologize. 1 second.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, so I
No,
mean,
yeah,
obviously,
sorry.
just
Yeah, I'm back. Like, sorry. No, like I'm because I'm trying to go into this movie. Like, whenever I watch it, whenever I see a movie that I'm hyped up for, I try to go with as little knowledge as possible. So when I go into that movie, my expectations are very, very low. Right. So I'm not looking to because I looked at the trailer. Right. I saw the music. I loved it. I love the music that they have. You could already tell it's not. They're not going for too creepy. They're not going for too lighthearted. It's sort of it has a good balanced mix. The cinematography. I love how they have that. Like they're not setting it up in like Gotham. Like it's all at night. It's all dark. It's all moon. You see like there's sunshine. They're trying to like. They're showing you the more human aspect of the Joker and how he sort of snaps, how society breaks this man. And for that, like if he could just balance, like I said, because with superhero movies, it's a very thin line that
no, no,
you're
no, no.
walking when you're because, like I
Red,
said,
the key thing though is that all that you say sounds great. Do you believe Todd Phillips can deliver all those things that are shown in that trailer? I have my doubts because
that's me
no, no,
too.
no, no. Because Red, let's be like, if let's say I saw that trailer and David Fincher was directing, or I saw that trailer and a Ridley Scott was directing it, or a Sam Mendes was directing it, I would be very, very excited. If I saw a trailer and I knew that Sam Mendes was the guy that was going to be making this film, I'm like, bro, we've got a masterpiece. I'm not
Yep.
sure whether Todd Phillips can deliver a masterpiece as a filmmaker, personally.
That's because like especially because from what you tell me, like his best work was The Hangover, which is obviously a
That's his
comedy.
best work. I mean,
That's his
I
best.
never saw War Dogs, but yeah, Hangover is what he's best known for.
Yeah, like even like War Dogs, even like it's like it sort of has that sort of like that Disney vibe where it's like yes, there's a lot of stake, but there's a lot of comedic like sprinkled into it, like the MCU. Um, like we have to remember the Joker is supposed to be a clown. So even though what he does is incredibly sick and disgusting, it's supposed to have a comedic tune
You see,
towards what he's doing.
you see,
You know what I mean? Like
that's a great point because I think that is where you know what he can be right because he does come from the world of comedy, but dark comedy. Like when you look at Hangover, that's very dark comedy. I
very
think
dark. Yep.
from that point of view, he's right for that role.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is like if we can get it because like you know what I want to see HH in this movie, I want to see the Joker doing some messed up stuff, but I want to laugh. I want to laugh. I want to see him having a punchline at the expense of people's lives, right? Like there's an animated movie, The Dark Knight Returns. It's a two-parter, and in that one, the Joker is essentially like they're interviewing him on live TV, and he's supposed to be like a victim of Batman. They're trying to like in the movie they're villainizing Batman, saying that he's the reason why these villains are mentally ill. He's causing the problem. And what the Joker does, he goes on live TV and he says like a joke, and in the punchline, he just murders the entire audience. Like that's it. He just snaps and just like the entire audience. He just like I believe it was like poison gas they had set up. Like I want to see stuff like that. Of course, that's an animated movie. They have more creative liberty because it's just drawings. With this one, they have to be a little bit more realistic. I want to see something like that. I want to see some like if you're going rated R, I hope it's not just for swear words or just a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
of
Oh, no, no,
blood.
no, no, true, true, true. But I think what's it called? Just from the live chat, Captain Levi's page, and I think I already know that. I think he said obviously two films that this heavily draws upon is Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. Now, have you seen those two films, Taxi Driver, King of Comedy?
King of Comedy, no. Taxi Driver, yes, but a long time ago. Taxi Driver is pretty old, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, no,
It's like
because see for me like, because did you see the? Because okay, maybe you don't, but there's a shot from Taxi Driver that is pretty much almost identical that you see in that Joker trailer. Like there's a very identical shot. Like when you just see him smiling and panning away, it's identical. But see, King of Comedy now, I really recommend that you watch that. That's a really
no.
good
I'll
film.
check it out definitely.
That's a really good. That's like it's a really good film because again, I think this film definitely feels a lot like the kind of narrative broad strokes is very similar to what you get in a King or comedy, and I think it's like because I think at a point Scorsese was maybe like linked to this film at a point, so you can definitely see how this is heavily influenced on what Scorsese did. But my thing about this is that I just hope because you see the Dark Knight was supposed to be the film that really changed things within the comic book industry in how serious it was and everything. But we never really saw a ripple effect because the Dark Knight came out, then Avengers came out. And then we then
Yep.
saw Infinity War, Endgame, and everything. So it didn't really have that. I mean, it had sort of a somewhat of an effect when everyone wanted to now go dark, but it didn't have the desired effects of like now we now really want to really make everything really really serious and real. But what I hope
You,
from
you
this
know,
film is
you
I
know.
w- I
Sorry, actually, sorry to
want
cut you off. But like one thing real quick about the Dark Knight, because like that what bothers me the most about that movie now, why I feel like it didn't really have the lasting effect, is because the Dark Knight isn't really that's not really Batman that we saw. Because what is Batman's title? The world's greatest detective. And you don't see him doing any detective work in the Dark Knight. He's most likely just point A, point B, beating people up. It is the Joker massacre. So the reason for that is like the movie didn't really have that longevity because when the Joker died, that was it. That was the end. Even the Dark Knight Rises is a brick of a movie. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Knight
oh
Rises
no no
at all.
I no 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 I no that film is trash. Rise is trash. It's a
But
trash
sorry, I
film.
cut you off. ATH. Continue. Sorry.
Oh no, so yeah, so basically for me, I just hope that because again, look, I can't wait for this film to come out and for people to start reacting to the film. But what I just hope, I don't know whether I will like the film or hate the film. But one thing is for sure, like for me, the main thing I'm looking forward to this film is Joaquin Phoenix. The whole element of it being in Gotham City and Joker, that's just like an extra edge and extra spice of like, oh, that's interesting. But my main thing is that I just want to see a good film. So I don't understand people who are like, oh no, why is this not like the comic books? Why isn't this so similar to like no, I just want to just see a quality film. So obviously we'll wait and see and just see how it goes when the film comes down. So moving on from there, we now have this old thingy, The Irishman. So
Oh
Irishman,
yes.
this is a movie obviously directed by Martin Scorsese, reuniting
hmm
Scorsese with De Niro, and we now have
Joe Pesci, Al
Jojo
Pacino.
Pesci, Harvey Keitel is
Oh,
in this. Al Pacino, of course, is in this. It's a heavy house, heavy hits, and I think so. What was just announced is the movie is going to be, I think, 3.5 hours,
please.
3.5 hours. So it's going to be very, very like it's this. This is his masterpiece. But a couple of things, and just to get your thoughts on this, Red. Now, one of the big things of this film is the de-aging technology. We've seen it used in Ant-Man. We've seen it used in
Uh, the
Civil
MCU,
War.
mostly MCU, they've
Yeah,
implemented it amazing. Like even with Tony Stark, you saw in the beginning of Civil War how they made him like a teenager again.
Captain America, Civil War, and
It's
everything. So,
yep.
so,
And
so
even Captain America at the end of Captain America, sorry, at the end of Endgame too. Captain America, how they aged him, made him
yeah.
older.
Endgame, yeah. So my thing about this is that like, look, this is a very big film, and I think like I mean, the last time De Niro and Pacino were in a great quality film was obviously Heat, which I think is a masterpiece. And then we then had them in other films with John Average, which was just horrible, like Righteous Kill, just horrible. But the fact that it's flipping Scorsese, and Scorsese is now stepping into the chair, and you have, because Joe Pesci, he came out of retirement, he retired from acting,
Yep.
so he's actually coming from retirement just to do this film. But my issue is this: I am super excited for this film, and even watching the trailer, knowing Scorsese is behind it, and the fact that it's this long, and obviously we'll speak about the length. But do you feel that it was maybe because this de-aging technology, it's not there yet? It's definitely good, but it can definitely be improved upon. I think maybe in about 10 years or so, 7, 10 years, it's going to be amazing. But do you think it was a good decision for a film of this magnitude with some of the greatest talents in cinema history? Was it worth the risk using the aging technology for a film like this?
See, that's what worries me, to be honest with you, HH. Like, because here's my thing. I love mafia movies, mob movies. Like, the last one we got was what, 2005, The Departed, I think. Like, that's the last good one we've got. Ever since then, is there another mob movie that we've gotten in the past 10 years, 15 years? Like,
Not.
because like some of my favorite movies are like Casino, Goodfellas,
Oh yeah.
Godfather Part One and Two. Like these are all-time classics. And with this one, it has that vibe, and especially the story of the Irishman. Like I highly recommend that because like the Irishman is like the thing is back like because I had to refresh my memory because when I heard it, I was like the Irishman. Like why does that sound familiar? So this dude, the guy that they're making the story
Wait,
of.
wait, 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 wait.
Oh,
Don't
sorry,
give
sorry. Yeah.
too much away because I don't
I'm
I
going
don't
off
spoil
topic. Sorry,
anything
I'll go
about
back
it.
to the de-aging process. So with that, like it kind of worries me that there's not really a lot of good acting talent out there that can do mob movies. I don't know if there's a lot of like because like when you look at actors like Joe Pesci, right? Joe Pesci, I don't think that anybody has a better short temper than him. Like if you remember in Casino or all that stuff, like
Oh
why don't we
my
have new
gosh.
actors like that? Like where they have that aggressive tune where they can play a mob role. We don't really see that nowadays, and it's kind of sad that we have to bring back actors from retirement and de-age them to be able to make a good quality mob movie. I feel like almost it's like a dying genre, like Western movies, like the cowboy movies. You know,
Oh no, no, no.
The old
I think
Westerners.
that's a very great because again, like maybe that's even maybe for another movie show. Maybe if we do it on Wednesdays, like what the hell happened to the Western? Like the last, I mean, 310 to Yuma was pretty good, but I think the last truly great Western was Unforgiven, and that came out in 91 or 92, early 90s.
That's it.
So it's like, yeah. But no, but I think no, it's true, but it's like, you see, we go out to the whole de aging thing, and I think because my argument was, why don't you get quality young actors to play De Niro and Pacino in their 20s? Why don't you get that? It's like, trust me, you can definitely go out there and find some quality actors who can invoke the spirits of either a Pacino or a De Niro. But then, I don't know, for Scorsese, maybe in his mind, he was, you can get those actors, but if there's a way where, but as good as those actors may be, they don't have the essence
Yep.
of De Niro and Pacino. But my worry is this: when we watch the film, are we constantly going to be critiquing how good the technology will be of their faces, their facial expressions? Okay, that looks real. That doesn't like real. And as we're watching that, is that going to detract and take away from?
You know what I'm worried about, HH? Like because I feel like when we first watched it the first time in theaters, when like you're in IMAX, you're seeing it all like with high quality. I think you won't really notice the problem, but I think it might affect its age, right? Like maybe like 10 years down the line, when the technology gets better, when you go back and try to watch this movie, you're gonna be like, ah, that looks bad. Like I'll give you an example. Go back and watch the original Avenger, the first Avengers movie that came out in 2012. When you see Iron Man without the mask on, it clearly looks CG. Like it doesn't look crisp anymore. Even Captain America, like when if you watch the Captain America, the first Avenger, like when he was in the skinny body, before he got the superpowers, you see the CG's kind of poor because like you're like he doesn't that doesn't really look like natural. You know, it doesn't really come off natural. But when I first saw it, I didn't notice that. It looked amazing. But now with age, once you see like compared to Endgame and Civil War and all that stuff, like it's much inferior. And I think I do agree with you. I think that
And, no,
the
no,
de-aging
and also
technology, because
it's the same thing with Avatar as well.
yep, like Avatar nowadays, like the only reason Avatar sold so much is not because of the amazing movie. It's just Pocahontas 2.0, but it's because of at the time it was 3D. It sort of was
3D.
groundbreaking for cinema at the time back in
But
2009, 10 years ago.
Red, let's be real. Like that 3D was pretty good. Like 'cause I remember watching that thing IMAX 3D with the because there've been many. The only two quality 3D films have been Beowulf and Avatar, where they really made good use of the 3D tech. Other films
Yep,
pretend to be 3D, but really they're 2D films just scaled up just to try to get more extra money. So
more
James
revenue.
Cameron came clutch with that 3D, man.
Yep. No. See, that's it. Like HH. Like this is why it excites me. Like James Cameron, Martin Scorsese. Like these dudes, they don't just direct anything. These guys only direct. Like when they come out, they'll drop a classic and leave. Because like, what was Martin Scorsese's last? Wasn't it? Didn't he direct The Departed? If I'm not mistaken.
I swear
I'm
he did
pretty
a
sure with.
film before The
I'm pretty sure because
Departed.
like, but every time HH, this guy comes out of retirement, like he comes out, makes a classic and leaves. Same thing with James Cameron. Makes Terminator 2, dips, comes back, makes Titanic, dips, comes back, makes Avatar, dips. Like, every time he makes a movie, it's groundbreaking. Because like with these guys, like they're perfectionists. Like these, they don't, they like and that's why I sort of trust the Irishman. Like even though the de-aging technology, like I'm not a big fan of CGI. Like another
No,
reason why like
hate
The
it.
Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies is because when you see the action scenes, that's all real. Like when the Joker flips that truck, that wasn't CGI. That
Yeah,
was an
yeah,
actual
it
truck
was
flip
all
that they
real,
did
all
on
real, all
set.
real, all real.
Like when it comes to stuff like that, you always appreciate it more because if you go back and watch The Dark Knight, it'll look the same as when you watched it back in the day. It might not it might not look as impressive as current movies because of the technologies that we have right now, but still the fact that the effects hold up, it always makes it, it amplifies the experience of the movie watch. So with the de-aging technology, I'm not a big fan of it, but I do trust the director enough that I know that I don't think it's going to be the deciding factor. Because I feel like
Okay.
when you're like 2 hours into the film and the film is reaching its climax and there's a lot, all the stakes are there at that moment in time, yeah, I feel like we're not going to be worried about who's who and
But
what's
but
what.
but
You're just going to
but
want to see the.
but speaking of the length though, like, is that a worthwhile length of a story like this, or do you think it may be too? Because for me, I think it's great. I think what's missing, because again, one of my favorite films is Lawrence of Arabia, and that film is almost 4 hours, where there's actually an
Yep.
interval. And I remember watching it as a kid, and I just loved the scope of the film. And I just think it's a shame that we don't see more films that are like 3.5, even 4 hours long. I think the last time we saw
No.
films of that length were the Lord of the Rings films. Like even the whole
Yep.
thing of like having like an
Endgame was three and a bit. Endgame was 3 hours and a bit. So that
true,
does fall
true,
back.
true.
I do agree with you because like here's the thing, I do like long format movies only when it makes sense. Like with a mob movie, typically speaking, you're seeing essentially like a life story. Like when you see Casino, for example, that's also like close to 3 hours. It's a very long movie. Like you're seeing the rise and fall of an empire. Two guys sent to Las Vegas for a hustle. They grow to the very top, and they overextend, and eventually they have to be put in their places. Or even like The Godfather, like you're seeing the transition page from one Godfather to the next, and like it makes sense. Like you because the movie's moving so smoothly, you don't feel it. Or even like Infinity War. Like Infinity War is close to 3 hours. I didn't feel it. It feels like an hour for me because everything keeps moving. Right, like you see Iron Man and Co. right here, then it switches over to
Oh no,
Captain
no,
America
it's
right
true.
here,
Pacing,
then they're
no,
in
no, no, no.
Wakanda.
But you see, now that is very key because I think, like, if let's say you gave a Michael Bay 3 hours, I would be scared.
Yep.
I would be
Yeah.
scared to
Yep.
give Michael
Yep.
Bay like 3 hours. But also remember, like, this is Scorsese. He has one of the best editors of all time. I mean, Thelma Schoonmaker, I believe, and she's like literally like top, like tier one of editors. I think if it's 3.5 hours, I'm actually pretty cool for it to be 3.5 hours because I know that it's going to be edited and paced so well, and also you're dealing with an interesting story and some of the greatest actors of all time. So I just think, in that sense, I just think basically the world and I think people need to really get back and appreciate really long, lengthy films. And that's look at
Yep.
how much TV people watch anyway. So
Well, that's the thing is like we live in an era where people are binging series in one day. Like
Four, five
a lot of
hours
my
at
friends,
a
like,
time.
oh, this new series is out. I gotta binge it within the weekend. They have it all completed. I'm like you don't get to. Like, see, for me personally, I like more movies that more so than series. Like, I'd much rather watch a long format movie that sums up the whole movie than watching like 12 episode series. Because because I saw a lot of people talking about like, oh, why don't they just make like the Marvel movies or like the superhero movies into just episodes on Netflix, or make these mafia movies on. I'm like, no, 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 no. That sacrifices the quality. The best part in the movie is that it's a high production, quick story, highlight reel of the person's life, especially if it's like somewhat based on
No,
a
no, no.
true story. Uh,
That's almost a very interesting thing, even that I even wanted to ask you, because I think I sort of put out that tweet is, if you were given a choice, would you watch an amazing season, single season of a TV show, or an amazing film? And I said that
you
100%.
always
I'll always
say
watch an amazing
the film.
film.
The filmmaker, because like, tell me what like, do you really want to sit down and watch through, let's say, for example, 8 to 12 episodes of a movie where they drag it on in episodes? Because the thing is, with when you're talking about a serialized format and it's episodic, you have to have cliffhangers, right? So like you're constantly wanting to switch to the next episode, even though the cliffhanger might not even have a payoff. Because you watch the next episode, they resolve it within the first 5 minutes, and then the next episode it begins. Whereas in a movie, it's not like that. In a movie, it's continuous, starts off, especially when it's like a master. Like, let me ask you this: would you rather watch a mob show, any mob show of your choosing, or would you rather watch The Godfather 1 and 2?
No, no.
Like,
Basically, it's like ask. Basically, the question is like, would you watch the best season of Sopranos or Godfather? And I'd choose the Godfather, because you see,
exactly.
my thing is this: it's not necessarily even about cliffhangers. I just think that, like, even for me, I was just rewatching season one of The Wire, and it's phenomenal, absolutely amazing. But I just
Yep.
think that I grew up with films. I grew up watching like about four, five, six films every day. So I think I'm more, and basically this whole TV thing has been really new. Of like TV binging is actually like sort of like a new thing that only was introduced, because really TV binging really began with House of
Netflix.
Cards and Netflix. That's when it really
Yep.
began. So for me, like, TV requires, even whenever people say, okay, yo man, watch this new TV show. Like, people say, okay, no, watch Vikings, watch Narcos and everything. I'm like, these are 4 or 5 seasons deep. Do you know how much time I'm going to invest into 4 or 5 seasons, like 20 episodes each? Whereas if someone said, oh no, watch this, like, someone just like, I remember like
That's
years
it.
ago, a guy said, yo, we should watch this Korean film, The Chaser. I sit down, I get the DVD, 2 hours, I watch it. Wow, one of the best films I've
Done.
ever seen. Simple.
Yep. Yep. For me, and also like with film, it's also the fact that you could like switch through movies. Like I said, like you watch Godfather 1 and 2, you like, and that's it. And you just spent like 4 to 6 hours, possibly depending on like the what kind of cut you're watching, and that's it. It's done. You can discuss it. The themes, all that are there. Whereas like I said, when it comes to a serialized series, when it's serialized, it's you don't. It's not like I said. Like like they have to add a lot more and take a lot out at the same time. Where like themes will have to be removed because that theme is gonna have to be stretched out over 30 episodes, and it's not gonna come off directly. It's not gonna be good. I'm not like again like I'm not a big series guy, to be honest with you. Like, it's very hard for me to get into a series. Like maybe a big reason why I like to watch animated movies or that's our animated series or anime is because it's shorter episodes, like 20-minute
Yeah.
episode and you're done, right? Like and that's it, and like you can get through a season much quicker. Um, but that's just personally for me.
Yeah, so actually,
But like,
so wait, have
sorry,
you
go ahead.
seen? Oh no, sorry. Finish. I mean, finish your point. Finish your point.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, so for me, for me to sit down and watch like 40 to 60 minute episodes of a series that's like 5 seasons long, like people are telling me to get into Game of Thrones, and I'm like, it's too late. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and watch seven. How much is it? 6, 7 seasons, like, and each episode's like an hour and a bit. Like, no, it's okay. I'll miss that one out. If it was a movie like Lord of the Rings, I would watch it. Like, yeah, I'll knock out 3 movies out. Like that's fine. But like if you want me to watch like all the like a whole series, spend like what like close to like 40 hours just watching, no, I'm good.
No, so wait, have you seen? Because someone just asked it in the chat room. Have you seen Train to Busan?
No,
I mean, yeah,
I haven't.
I've heard about it, but I've not seen it. But I don't know. That reminds me. Have you seen the film called Snowpiercer?
Also, no. I'm being
Yeah,
put
no, no,
on to a lot
interesting
of
film.
movies. I'm looking
But
through
actually,
the
but
chat right now.
what was interesting though? So I just watched Goodfellas recently. Like,
Yep.
I mean, I've seen it before, but The last time I saw it was maybe about 6, 7 years ago. So I
Yep.
rewatched it again a few days ago.
Doesn't it feel like you're watching a new movie?
You know
Like
what?
when rewatching it.
You know, when I saw Goodfellas the first, I'm so glad I watched it again because I'm definitely
Mm.
watching it with new eyes. And here's my thing about Goodfellas. I think the directing is incredible. Basically, do you know what should have happened at the Oscars?
What?
I believe that Dances with Wolves should have definitely won Best Picture, which it deserved. Best
Mm.
directing should have gone to Scorsese. The directing in that film is incredible. Just the
Yep.
filmmaking technically is available. But as a film and as a story, I don't think it was very well executed. Because watching
See,
it
here's
again, I
it is a
felt
real.
that,
It's a true story. HH. By the way, the guy who was in
oh no, 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 Henry
the
Hill, Henry
Goodfellas,
Hill.
he's a real person. He does interviews and everything.
No, no,
He
but
was in
no, no, no,
witness protection, and that's when
but
he
my
wrote the
thing about
movie.
it is that the way I just felt that you didn't really get the characters. I don't think
Mm.
the character arcs were very well illustrated in the film, and I just felt that Henry Hill, the character, sort of was lost within a lot of stuff happening. Because
Yep.
again, because you know how people always compare like Goodfellas and Godfather. Because see, the beauty about the
Mm.
Goodfellas is the it's so funny, like the way that they just created the characters and the interplay, the script. It felt like if this, it felt so real and so authentic. The way that they were relating to each other, and in a weird way, even if I've never met these guys before, the characters just seemed very, very realistic.
You
So
felt the family. You feel like you know the
you feel like
family.
you're
Like when it
really
comes from the sister to the brother
in
to
there, hundred
everybody.
percent. You know, but my thing about it is like, see, Godfather is a completely different beast because, like, I don't know whether you know this story about Brando. So basically, they
Mm.
interviewed what's his name, Tom Fagan. What's Robert Duvall, Robert Duvall. So
Yep.
they interviewed Robert Duvall, and Robert Duvall said that when he saw Brando's take on Don Corleone, he was like, I want him to be angry, I want him to be raging, and like, this is a mob boss and everything. And then he then realized that, wow, what a brilliant take on a mob boss.
Yep.
Because he didn't
And
do what people expected him to do. He went
no,
the other way. And I think
and
what's made Godfather
sorry, sorry.
so
What's
good is just that's what he did with Don Corleone amidst all the violence around him.
no? Because like he literally he sort of revolutionized the mob boss in the public eye. Because like realistically speaking, mob bosses they would always if you look at I watched a ton of documentaries about mafias. I went through down a rabbit hole like a while back where I was just watching all these documentaries, and all these movies because I was just really into it. And usually the mob bosses they lay low. But in movies, they always portrayed them as these loud mass aggressors. And in The Godfather, they sort of revolutionized it. They changed the image where the boss always comes off as a calm. Because let's be honest, would you be more fearful if you just saw a guy that has the power to wipe you off the planet, but he's so calm in front of you? Like it just adds a next level of respect and admiration, and even fear. Also, in the genius of Brando too, you know that first scene in The Godfather where he has a cat, and the cat is never seen in the movie at all. Fun fact about that is that cat just roamed onto the set, and just Marlon Brando just grabbed it and just continued the scene with it.
Oh wow.
And that was on the spot. Like that's the kind of like genius that we were dealing with at the time. And like he just played with it. He just was in that role, in the zone, and they just continued the shoot. Which I always thought that was very interesting. But a quick thing to the Goodfellas Godfather point. Now with Godfather, it is fiction, so you can write this perfect story about this family where they're inspired probably by real life stories, and they include them in it. But with the Goodfellas, that is like what they did in the Goodfellas was exactly what happened in real life. Like the reason why it doesn't seem as perfect and as cinematic as the Godfather is because it's real. It's great to show you how this kid just grows up, hangs out with the wrong crew, ends up getting involved with the mob, and eventually they just go too far.
Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no,
They whack a guy that they shouldn't have done it, and like you see how eventually he gets drugged and all that, and like it's just very like it's what shows you real repercussions to those actions.
no. But
Like
my, no,
when you kill and you go down that.
but see,
So go ahead.
Red though. I mean, I think don't mistake me. I'm not saying because I get how one is fiction and one is real. I'm just talking about telling a story.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't feel I didn't really feel I got enough of that transition of Henry Hill in Goodfellas.
Hmm.
I just felt like if like, oh wow, like this is such an interesting story of how a guy started off from where he was and ended up from where he was. And I just felt like if watching it again, I don't know whether it maybe needed to be a bit longer or they needed some more scenes to be extrapolated, but it just seemed as if the way it was made, it was just sort of like hopping and going from everywhere. I didn't really feel like if I could really be invested. I just felt like there needed to be much more expansion of the Henry Hill character. I think what they did with Tommy and Jimmy was quality, and I think you got enough from them because it's not their story; it's Henry Hill's story, and because it's Henry Hill's story, I felt that they needed to be much more focus on what he was doing fully.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
and I agree. To be fair,
sorry, go on.
Henry Hill was on crack when he wrote his book. Like,
Uh,
they based it off the book, so that's probably why I do agree. Because like like the guy Henry Hill is not like meant. He's like he's still, I believe he's still alive now. I don't know if he passed away recently. And I didn't pay attention, but because he's very old. And he's very sickly, but like you do know he's broke by the way. He didn't make a lot of money off that movie at all. He's living off book sales, which even those the rights were caught, he was kind of screwed out of them. He's a very crooked man to this day. He's still screwed over financially. Like he hasn't evolved from that character. So that character that we see in the movie he's still a bum to this day. He was when I saw with the documentary that I saw, he was working at a restaurant at a diner as flipping burgers, like
wow.
somewhere in middle America.
So
Like so
actually, sorry. Finish your point.
So I kind of again with Goodfellas like I do agree with you because the story isn't like if I'm gonna recommend a mob movie to my friend I want to watch like one I'm hands down the first movie you take him to is Godfather. If you want to go maybe Scarface is a different route, but like those are the movies that I would want to show them if I want to get them into that genre of movies. I wouldn't go to Goodfellas first. That's more for somebody that's already in it. Like usually my go-to movie, like whenever I like, you want to recommend your friend a movie and get him into a new genre. I usually go for Casino though, like over Godfather.
No,
Casino
no,
for me is
but
very great.
my
Like
thing is,
that
I mean,
movie's like
what
a
did you
roller
think of?
coaster.
Sorry, I mean, what did you think of Donnie Brasco,
Donnie Brasco.
Johnny Depp?
To be honest with you,
Just
I
say
haven't
it.
watched it in a long time.
Johnny
It's
Depp
it's a
was
bit of a forgettable
Minimalist
one because I
Cast.
watched it when I think I watched it like back in like 2000 like maybe 11 maybe I think. It's I don't remember, but to be honest with you, it didn't really capture me. I wasn't really a big fan of it because I always was more like I don't like the. I know that it's like based off a real story. Donnie Brasco is
Hmm.
real, and how he infiltrated the mob and all that stuff. But it just didn't capture me the same way. I like the mob movies. It's like when it's just strictly with the mob. Like what they're doing is, it's not just about the infiltration and the cops and them. I'm not really too big into that aspect of their stories. So I need to rewatch it though to give a really fair assessment. To be honest, I
Okay,
might rewatch it now and love it because when I watched it, I was a bit younger and I like more the action packed scene like when in The Godfather when he wipes up all the mob bosses. Sorry for the spoilers,
mm,
guys. But
so,
like when he wipes up all like scenes like that, you're like holy shit, you did not see that coming.
okay, so Godfather 1 or 2.
Two easily
That
two
that's
because
is like see for me is like I think that I personally prefer Godfather 1 because of Marlon Brando, but Godfather 2 is a masterpiece film. Like
yep.
Godfather 2 is categorically the better film. And like I don't understand anyone who can objectively say that Godfather 1 is a better film than Godfather 2 because Godfather 1 is still good. Godfather 2 is that's like masterpiece. And I think I've only seen it maybe twice or once or even twice. And even just seeing that, I was like, no, this is because this guy is going into the past in Italian and just what
Yep.
Pacino basically how Pacino I think some dude called like Art Lani or something won the Oscar win. How Pacino didn't win for Godfather 2 is beyond me. But I think even on that, I think
Those
someone
award
just
shows don't
said
make
in
sense to
this.
be honest with you though. Like just like Grammys, Oscars. Like I'll give
Oh,
you this
it's
example.
stupid.
It's like
Stupid.
Nas has never won a Grammy. Let that sink in.
No, no, no,
they
no,
break, they break
it's
it up.
stupid.
They break it up with these award shows. Like, because to be honest with you, I guarantee the movie that won that award at the year that The Godfather was like they didn't win it. That movie's nobody watches it. These
I
critics, like, they're
I think it
bricks,
was like
HH. Like,
ordinary people or something, something like that. But basically, what's it called? Someone actually pointed about how in like I think in the 1991 awards of the films that were nominated, I think it was Ghost, Awakenings, and all this kind of stuff, and Godfather 3. Now let's be real about Godfather 3. Godfather 3 is not a bad film. It just comes after two classic films.
yep,
And that's the issue because people keep saying Godfather 3 is so rubbish, it's so crap. No, 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 no. In and of itself, Godfather 3 is a damn good film. It's just that you have to watch it in the same prism as two of the most revered films of all time. But it's not a
yep.
bad
No, that's
film.
the thing. Not to mention, HH, the gap in time between the release between
Yeah,
two
there
and
you go.
three.
I think because I think
Like
Godfather 3
that.
was 1990 and those films were 72 and 74. So
Yeah, like that gap alone, because now with that gap you have expectations because you have people have been watching. So when you're going in, people are remembering their childhoods or their like their younger years when they watch these movies. Now they're expecting something to be on that level, and you know
and
it's not
and
going to
and,
match
and,
that
and
level.
also the director is in a different headspace as well. So
And also like the thing is with Godfather 3 that bothered me is it's mostly like the only thing that I really didn't like about it is the romance.
oh, Sofia
The between the
Coppola and Andy Garcia.
Yeah, like that was very awkward. Even that kissing scene is one of the cringiest scenes I've ever. It just didn't seem like it was real. Like that took me out of the movie. I did like the ending though, because the
Yes.
difference between like
Wait,
if
wait,
you
wait,
look
wait,
at
wait, wait.
like
Don't
look at
spoil
the,
it. Don't
because
spoil the
how I
ending.
compare the
Yeah.
Godfather trilogy. Look at the difference between the two Godfathers that we meet in these stories. Between Marlon Brando's Godfather and Al Pacino's Godfather. So Marlon Brando's Godfather emphasized Godfather in the sense of family, right? Where he was very close to his family. He always had his sons beside him. Even his advisor was his adopted son. Whereas Al Pacino's Godfather, he more emphasized the mob aspect of the business title, right? Like he even in like that thematically in the first movie, they show you when he shuts at the very last scene when he shuts the door on his wife and he stays with his bosses. That's supposed to be thematic. Like it's supposed to be showcase that how he's closing on his family and he's going towards more the business aspect of it. And they show you how the ending of Marlon Brando when he died with his kids around him, his wife around him, everybody
Wait,
around
wait,
him.
wait, 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 wait. But don't wait. Because some people may have not have watched it,
Oh,
so don't
true.
give
I
away too
apologize. I
much.
apologize.
Yeah, don't
It's
give
just
it.
because it's been like 50 years.
Yeah, no, no, yeah. No, no. But trust. Do you know there are still people who haven't seen Godfather, any of the Godfather films? Trust me. As crazy as that
No,
may sound, there are still people who haven't seen any of the Godfather films or any of the Matrix films. It is crazy. It's crazy. But just round off last few minutes here. Someone says, so guys, whoever is in here, please ask us questions because we're gonna have like last 10 minutes. So ask us any questions in the live chats, any film movie questions. Have you seen Waterworld?
what?
Oh, you have.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear what you said. What the movie's name
Sorry.
was?
Have you
HH.
have you seen Waterworld? Waterworld
Oh
with
my, yes, I have. Oh my God. Let me just tell you one funny thing about that movie, HH. The best part about that movie is that like 50% of it is comprised of all these these inventions that he's made to live in this water world. But you don't understand how any of this works. All you see is just gears and stuff and strings being pulled. I'm like, what am I watching? Like this is so boring. It's such a brick movie. What's that guy named? Also Kurt. I think his name is Kurt, the actor. Um,
oh
the
Kevin
main actor
Costner.
in Waterworld. Also him. That guy has one face. He cannot act. He just has that smoldering face, and that's all. That's the
Oh
only
no
thing that we
no,
saw in the whole movie. You never see fear.
but Red though. Let's be real, man. Remember you talked about how much you hated CGI and everything. Now the
Yep,
film isn't the most amazing film, but what I respect in that film was how the amount of stuff that was real, the amount of real sets that were built, and just
yep.
the set design of that stuff. I thought, look, man, you've got to hand it to them. Like because remember this was back in the 90s, so they didn't have the kind of tech. And also remember, even if it was the 90s, they could have very easily been very hammy with the CGI as they did in Escape from LA,
Jurassic
where
Park.
it just looked hammy. But let's be real, man. It's like, I think that Waterworld, man, it's a film that people should watch and just to appreciate what they were able to build set wise within a set. I think it was quality. So a guy asked, actually, that's something. What's your favorite film? Favorite film?
For me, to be honest, it's hard. I can't name one. But you know what? I'm gonna take this time to shout out a movie that I really love, a trilogy. Ip Man. Yip Man by Donnie Yen.
Man,
Check that
Donnie Yen is
movie
that
out.
dude,
One,
man.
two, and three. Incredible trilogy. Incredible trilogy. Especially two. Two is my favorite of the bunch. But favorite movies, like to be honest with you, I like. I don't really have like a top five or top 10 because I love Godfather. I love like superhero movies, like maybe like Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, Infinity War. Maybe comedies. Let's see, what is a good? The 40-Year-Old Virgin is a very underrated, funny
Wait,
movie.
wait, bro.
Highly recommend
Have you
that.
seen Cable Guy? Have you seen the Cable Guy with Jim
Of course,
Carrey?
oh, Cable Guy is so good, HH.
That's
That
my
is
number one
prime Jim
comedy film of
Carrey.
all time. Basically, that is my number one comedy film of all time. Jim Carrey, Cable Guy, quality.
You know what, HH? Like I miss that Jim Carrey because like for me, Jim Carrey from like '95 till
Oh, he was the
2005 could
best. Ace
do no
Ventura,
wrong.
Liar Liar, The Mask.
The Mask, like what else? Bruce Almighty, like the Cable. Like he had so many good movies. I feel like 2008. Once he made that movie 23, we lost Jim Carrey forever. That was it. Have you ever watched 23, HH?
23.
23.
Is that the thing? Is that the film based off a Japanese film or
No,
no?
no, no, no.
Oh,
It's a
sorry,
Jim Carrey
number
movie, but
23
it's
with Jim Carrey.
serious.
No, 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 no,
No
no.
comedy. It's just pure serious. I honestly would watch it. I would recommend it just for the experience. Just for the experience. Oh, actually,
I
you know
don't think I'm
what?
ready
This is
to
actually
see
what a
Jim
movie
Carrey
that I've
fully
recently watched. I
serious though.
watched it
That's the
about a
thing.
year ago, but it's one of my all-time favorites. Mother. Watch Mother.
Oh no, no, no.
Mother is just an experience.
Wait.
Like an
Do you mean the
incredible
film with
movie.
directed by Aronofsky with Javier Bardem and thingy?
Yep. The recent one. I believe it's on Netflix right now. It's
I did no,
available.
bro. I did a review on my channel. I said to
I
people
checked it
like,
out. I saw that. I even commented on Twitter when you tweeted about it. I'm like, yes, that's a quality movie.
no, trust me, Mother is unlike anything you'll ever see. And the key thing is that I knew nothing about the film. I went in cold. And I was like, what the bloody hell did I just... But see, that's why Aronofsky is my guy. So actually, wait, so basically, my favorite film. Hard to say, but favorite film? It's basically, it's between Tim Burton's Batman, The Matrix Reloaded, and Terminator 2. I think between those three films are probably some of my favorite films. So, guys, said, have you thoughts on the movies Lord of War by Nicolas Cage and Children of Men by Clive Owen?
Honestly, I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen both of those.
What?
I'm getting exposed right now. I'm being exposed right now. Like
Look,
I'm realizing that
look.
my game is not what it used to be.
Basically,
I've seen a comment where it's saying Infinity War better than Endgame. That's facts.
no.
Wherever official niche.
Nah. Endgame over Infinity War. Endgame over Infinity War
Wait,
easily.
can I
Easily.
ask you a question, HH? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Like, because for me, like, you can't have one without the other. Because Infinity War leads up to Endgame, right? But what bothers me so much is that Infinity War there was so much build up, so much good build up. Like Thanos, for me, like the fact that what I loved about him as a villain is that he had a code. Whether you think it's stupid, whether he believed that he was right, he worked towards it. He was consistent. He was an honorable man. Like, and then in Endgame, they like I know they went. It was past Thanos, but the fact that he did like a whole 360 on his own, 180 on his own philosophy, that hurt it for me. The time travel, I don't care. I'm not a big. I don't find that a big deal. Like even for example, like the battle in Wakanda in the first one, like I thought that one. I was much more excited as like because like after the Captain America, like he grabbed Mjolnir and all that, like that when all the characters came in, I was really mad to see that the Hulk was a brick, did nothing. What's it called?
Hulk is a
Doctor
loser.
Strange
Hulk
was
is a
just
loser.
managing water. Like I felt like, come on, where's the? Like, and then like the only cool thing about Endgame, I do love what they did with two characters, Captain America and Iron Man. I was glad that they got a W. I was like, yes, like for those two characters, It was good. But Infinity War, all that build up, because I remember Infinity War, it just sets off from the very first frame.
No,
Loki
no,
dies. That's it.
no. I mean, but basically, see, my issue with Infinity War is that it relies very heavily on the previous films. So basically, if you're a huge MCU fan, then Infinity War is great. See, I watched Infinity War without actually watching what's it called, Doctor Strange or Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I was confused as like, wait, how the hell did Doctor Strange get this whole? So, but if you're an MCU fan and you watch all the films and you're really into the story, then Infinity War is great. I'm not a massive MCU fan. Like the only films in the MCU that I really like are the Captain America films and the first of Avengers, and that's it. So that's my thing. Whereas Endgame just felt more of this is a film. This is just a
Yep.
nice, complete film. But basically, going back to this whole thing, you need to watch Lord of War and Children of Men. But
I'll check them
specifically,
out. I'm actually going to check them out tonight. I'll watch Lord of War tonight probably.
oh no
I
no
have now
no,
the King of Comedy. I'm making a list right now because I need to get on this.
bro, no, bro. If priority wise, Lord of War, like basically it's directed by you've seen Truman Show.
Yes.
So basically, the director and writer of Lord of War wrote Truman Show. And basically, he's called Andrew Niccol. And literally, all of the films that he makes, whenever he writes his films, he always wants you to think. And his films always really
Oh,
makes you think about stuff.
Nicholas Cage. I'm sold. That's it.
No,
You
no,
just have
no.
to tell me
And
Nicholas Cage
also,
is in
like,
it.
this is like, even if you're a Nick Cage fan, you're like, but, and Nick Cage is damn good in it. It's Nick Cage and Jared Leto. But the film is so good because it makes you think. Basically, after you watch the film, the way you now think about wars and why we fight these wars and everything, you just go wow. But trust me, like, and there are some amazing. There's one because I don't want to give it away, but there's one amazing sequence in the film in relation to ammunition that is like one of the best sequences in any film. So, what's it called? So let's see what guys saying. But yeah, no, Children of Men. Endgame. So no, basically, someone asked, wait, what genre is Mother? It's hard to say.
Marvel.
No,
Uh,
Mother. What genre is Mother?
Mother. Oh.
You
I would
can't.
only
No,
say
no, but look at
thriller.
that would be like a spoiler. Basically, saying what the genre is would be is a spoiler. You
That's the
have to
thing
just
is like
watch it.
like the only way that I could describe that movie is that it's just build up. It just keeps building up. It just like it you never every scene that you see, it's escalating. You know what I mean? And you're just like you know what's funny, HH? That not a single name we hear inside that movie. Like after you watch, because I don't want to talk too much about it without ruining it for the audience. Because like Mother is a surreal movie. It is actually an experience. Because when
No,
you
no,
leave
it will
it, you're gonna
flip
be
your
asking
mind.
yourself so many questions. Sorry, sorry. Did you say anything, HH?
Oh no. I said Mother will flip your mind. It will flip your
It
mind,
will.
Nathan.
It will. It's sort of like literally watching it. Like there's a couple movies when you watch them, they sort of change. Like you know what? The first time I watched The Matrix, the first one, not like Reloaded, the Revolution. The Matrix, it changes your outlook on life. You know what I mean? Like you sort of feel it's just a bit more. It breaks the fourth wall a little bit in a more meta
No,
way where it's
but,
like
but,
it.
no. You're already saying too much, man. Trust me, you're already
I
saying
know.
too much.
I know. That's the thing.
Just go
It's
on.
hard
See,
with movies.
all I'll say just you have to watch the film. You have to watch the film. Well, see. So this guy says, do you think Joaquin can surpass Heath Ledger? So now this my thinking. I personally don't feel that Heath Ledger did better or surpassed Jack Nicholson. Now everyone did better than Jared Leto. That was
Exactly.
just a mess. See, Jack Nicholson was doing a Joker for a very specific film and a specific take. Because trust me, we've all seen Jack Nicholson in what's the name of that film with Stanley Kubrick, where he has the axe,
Uh, Shoot the Shining. Shining.
the Shining. Trust me, Jack Nicholson can go dark, and also if you've seen The Wolf, he can go very dark. It's just that was just a much more eccentric kind of take based on what Tim Burton wanted, and Heath Ledger was just a eccentric take. But my thing about Joaquin Phoenix is that you see with Heath Ledger, What really helped was the mask, and Heath Ledger was amazing in it, well, completely amazing. But what really helped was the mask that he wore, which sort of concealed like his face and just gave his face a different personality. But for Joaquin Phoenix, he has so much dark expression in his face that half the work is already done. And for me, like I said again, like all you need to do is just watch Gladiator. All you need to do is just watch Gladiator, or just basically if you just watch Gladiator and watch the Master, and that is acting on a very high level. Like when you watch the Master
Yep.
and Thingy, this guy's operating at a very high level. So my thing is that I'm not even thinking about is he going to support Heath Ledger, because Heath Ledger just did his thing for that film. And I think Joaquin Phoenix is just going to do his thing for this film. And even he said as well, I'm not here to now do better than who cares? Like, and even people say that, oh, let's now compare who did the best. No, like I said, from like, personally, for me, my favorite Joker for me is Jack Nicholson. Because I feel that he encapsulated the essence of what the Joker's about. What he
Yep.
actually did was amazing. But he just did
Like
an
personally, for me,
amazing.
my favorite Joker is not even Heath Ledger or I like Mark Hamill, the animated Joker.
There we
I
go.
feel like his voice is just phenomenal. I like because again, for me, there's when it comes to comic movies, whether it's actor voice acting or acting, it's the same. And for me, Mark Hamill, like he's always like when I think about the Joker's voice and I hear the Joker's voice in my head, Mark Hamill's voice is what comes to mind. Like he's the iconic Joker for me. And as long as what Joaquin Phoenix has to do is just give his version of the Joker. Whether you think it's better or you think it's worse, it doesn't matter. As long as it's different. We don't want to see the same Joker. We like Jared Leto. Say what you want about his performance. I was happy that at least he did his own style. You know what I mean? It doesn't because like sometimes if you just try to copy other actors too much and you try to like emulate them, it hurts the performance because then
Oh
all I'm
no, no,
thinking
no,
about is
but
like why am I not
but,
watching
but,
that version instead?
I mean, but you see, even if he missed the mark, that's what I at least respect of what Jared Leto did, because Jared Leto went in a completely different direction. And I was like, look, man, he swung hard. He may have missed, but I still respect him for swinging hard in a
You
specific
know,
different
you know what? A
direction.
quick
So,
fun fact about that as well. What makes me mad about that is that Jared Leto was outraged. Is that they cut off like 45 minutes of his footage from that
oh
movie.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
completely reshot that whole movie and re-edited that movie, and they took his part out to add more comedic tones. And they got a company that edits trailers to edit that movie. Like that's the kind of bricks we're dealing with,
Yeah,
HH,
no,
when it
no,
comes to these.
the film was trash. But so just to sort of close off right now, not just to close on, just to really sort of come back to the beginning thing. See, here's my thing right now. I've given it a lot of thought, and I think I've just been watching in the chat where a lot of guys are saying, "Oh, how does Captain Levi know all this stuff about the Joker film and everything?" And this is my belief. I think the Joker film is going to be confusing. I don't think it's going to be a great film. Because see, I always do my research. People always look at the screenwriter. Always look at the screenwriter. Now, Hangover 1 was a very good film. Todd Phillips didn't write Hangover 1. He directed it, he didn't write it. He wrote part 2 and part 3, which were not seen as good as Hangover. So, and Todd Phillips wrote this film alongside someone else, and I did the research of the films that they've written, and it's like, So my prediction is that the film will have some interesting ideas and things, but as a whole, I don't think it'll be that great a film. But I just think from what I'm seeing, what Joaquin Phoenix is doing in this thing, I think that we could be in for something, man, from Joaquin Phoenix, man. Oh,
No,
oh, oh, oh.
I agree with that. And if you want to answer let's want to answer Cap Levy's question right here about Superman. Here's the thing with when
Cavill
it
is
comes to
trash.
Superman,
Red, Cavill is
Superman,
trash.
there's not a
Cavill
lot
is
of.
trash.
Sorry.
Henry Cavill
Oh
is
no,
a trash Superman.
that's the thing. See, the only problem I see with Superman is that there's not a lot of wiggle room. Superman is he's always that goody two shoes. The problem, and Superman can only work. And I feel like what DC should do if they want to bring in Superman, they need to build the world around him first, and then bring in a broken character like Superman. Because Superman, he's the archetype for every superhero. He's the original superhero. Like everybody else is just derived off him. He's supposed to be the superhero that has the power to level the world, but he doesn't because he believes in good and truth and justice. So he sort of has to that morals. And the problem, like, I hope that they bring in a bit more of an edgy character, and if they're gonna, because I know that DC, they're trying to give us the Injustice Superman. Injustice Superman, for the people that don't know, he's a Superman that essentially snaps and he decides to become world dictator. And then other superheroes, it's sort of like Civil War, but DC. But it's, trust me, teacher, when I tell you this, Injustice is the best comic book, I think, in my opinion. Like of its genre, like between, if you want superhero clashes, it trumps Civil War the comic. Even though Civil War for me is one of the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
best
No, no,
too.
but Red though, do you know how to get Superman right? It's very simple, and this is what Tim Burton's Superman Lives was trying to touch upon, and this is what people have been missing. Because you are completely right. I hated the Superman character from the comics. I said, no, this guy is boring. He's too strong. He's too powerful, and he's a Boy Scout. Although what Christopher Reeve and Richard Donner did, well, they made it very interesting. But this is what people have been missing about Superman. He's an alien. That's where you start. People are so wrapped around this whole American way. He's from Smallville. He's a good guy. He's a good American hero. Whereas no, wait a minute. He's not human. He's an alien.
Do
So
whatever you
he's
want with him.
foreign. And I
Like
think
literally, have you? They can't. If it makes sense, like, because you're right, he's an alien. He could come down, and he could be whatever we want him to be. Like, the thing is, if they can change the character, as long as it's good. Like Heath Ledger's Joker, had he been not like, has his acting not been on point, everybody would be like, what the hell is that Joker? Why is his hair long like that? Why does he look like a bum? Why does he look like his makeup is all messed up? Nobody wants to see that. But the fact that he was good, people accept it. When you're even Batman, like, I remember Batman Begins, a common thing is everybody didn't like is that, like, why does he look so stiff? Why does he talk like that? But when people started liking the movie and they like the story and they like the villain, they accepted it, right?
no,
Like, if what you do with it, like, because like in Man of Steel, my problem with Man of Steel is, why are they making Superman so gritty and so sad and depressed? Like, he's more of a hopeful superhero. You don't,
oh, no,
when
no,
you
no,
see
no, no,
Henry
no, no,
Cavill.
no. You see, Red. You see, the issue with Man of Steel is crap writing and a director. Because people forget this. Man of Steel doesn't have a middle part. It has a beginning, and then it just ends. So it starts, because I'll give Snyder this. The intro of Man of Steel is a fantastic intro. That Krypton section was amazing. But then there's no middle, and then the film just ends with a massive fight. But going back to my Superman point, see, the thing is, this is that people are missing the point. He is an alien. And if you hone in on that concept of he's come from Krypton, he's not from Earth. He's trying to be like from Earth and everything, but he's not from Earth, and he's an alien, and he doesn't. He's, as much as you can act as something within these your new environments, the core of you, the essence of you, is where you came from. And what people have been missing out is that we have not seen what makes this dude Kryptonian. What makes this dude Kryptonian? What separates him from Earth? As much as he wants to be Earth's leader, what separates him from Earth? Because trust me, there is an amazing Superman film out there. And the Superman film to be made is, forget that Batman v Superman trash. And this is what Superman Lives was going to be from Tim Burton. It's a doomsday film. It's a two-part movie, maybe 3 hours each. It's a two-part movie where he fights Doomsday, he dies, he gets resurrected, and then he then comes back. But what people are missing is that you can make an amazing Superman film where, as you say, maintain that he's hopeful, maintain that he's a beacon of hope and everything, but to make the character interesting and engaging, it is his inner battle with being Kryptonian and trying to be a protector of Earth.
Yep.
But the key thing that what people are missing is he's an alien. He's not a human being. He's an alien, and they've not really honed in on that flipping point. So it's like that's so even if he's been raised on Earth and everything, that okay, all because it doesn't make you a human being. At the core of you on of what you are is alien.
You're different. You're alien.
You're
It's
you're
literally you're foreign.
basically you hit the nail on the head. You're different. So even if you've been raised on earth, you've lived and everything, once you now realize that I have these powers, I can fly, I can do these things, I can communicate with my ancestors through crypto and everything, and realize that you're not like the regular human being, it makes you feel something different. And that concept of him being set apart from earth has never really been fully investigated, man. So um
You
that's
know
what
what we
this.
need, HH? The only way I could see that happening is a Brainiac movie, not Doomsday. Because Brainiac, he on his ship, he has like he essentially goes to every world. He takes it over, he destroys it, but he keeps one city and he puts it on his ship. He shrinks it and puts it on his ship, sort of as a collection of data on different species, right? So what would be good is if we get a movie where Superman ends up on Brainiac's ship, and it could be a two-parter, like one where they're trying to fight Brainiac, and then in the end everybody loses, Superman disappears, and the second one they can make it Superman, he's on the ship, he's not dead, like the superheroes are not in despair, he's on Krypton or a small version of Krypton, where Brainiac he play, which there is an animated movie of that, by the way. But they could make it more cinematic and like a larger scope. I think that would be a great way to sort of show the differences, and also like if because we know that if DC is going to make a Superman movie, they're going to make it a franchise. They're going to want to do what Marvel did, and from that you could start seeing Superman sort of become disconnected from humanity, and which eventually leads to his heel turn, where he becomes Injustice Superman, which is the Superman where he's like, you know what, I'm running the show right now, because I just want like I just want I want to take
Okay,
more
so the
liberties with these
Injustice Superman
characters.
is evil.
Yes, yes. He's not evil. CHH. That's the thing. He's the same Superman they've already seen. But what happens is the Joker. I'm just gonna tell you the epilogue of the story. Essentially, what happens? The Joker he kidnaps Lois Lane. Right? Batman and Superman together. They go to find. They go to. Batman goes after the Joker. Superman goes to find Lois Lane. Now, Superman he locates Lois Lane. He hears her. As soon as he opens the door, he gets hit with Joker's fear toxin, which has kryptonite in it, so it affects Superman. Superman, as he blows away the fear toxin, and sees Doomsday in front of him. So he's like, I can't deal with Doomsday right now. I have to get rid of. I have to find Lois. Now, Joker meanwhile has set up a nuke under Metropolis, right? So Batman's going to try to stop the Joker, and he does stop him. But what happens? Superman grabs Doomsday. He takes him out to throw him into the sun, so he can go back to Earth real quick and save Lois. Once Superman realizes that wasn't Doomsday, the fear toxin made him see Doomsday. That was Lois, and he kills Lois. And Lois was pregnant with with their daughter. So he essentially kills his child and his love of his life. And
What?
and Joker had the nuke tied to Lois's heartbeat. So when he killed Lois, Metropolis got nuked. So Superman lost everything. And he comes in, HH, and I'm just going to leave it right there. And that's like, he snaps after that. He just
Okay.
snaps, and he decides to just run the world. There's a video game for it on PlayStation 3. There's a
Yeah,
sequel
I've heard
to
of it
it.
as a video game. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. It's literally like you can find on YouTube. There's a lot of comic book channels that they'll read out the story for you. It goes over 5 years. Like that's the war. There's a war between Superman and the Earth for 5 years. Incredible story though.
Oh no! I'll definitely check it out. But look, man. So look, man. Let's sort of round this up. So this has obviously been a very, very interesting breakdown and topic, man. So we'll probably try and break this down again. So look, guys, that's just all from us. I'll probably be live maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Probably try and do it again at the same time, talking more movies. And obviously, I've got to finish Attack on Titan. I think I'm halfway through season one, so I just still need to. And also Armin or whatever the guy is called. That guy is bloody and annoying, man. But don't say anything. Let me just first finish it off, and then we can then see. So Red, thank you very much for being part of this
Always appreciate it,
thingy.
HH. Thank you for having
All
me.
right, and then we'll see you guys next time, guys. Peace out.
Peace, peace.